Major breaking news, IMF is threatening Botswana that if they buy majority stakes on diamond mines, they will stop funding them completely as a nation. This is after a company known as Anglo America decided to sell their mines, and Botswana wanted to increase them from 15% to 85%. Let me tell you, IMF decided to summon them that if you buy majority stakes on those mines, we will stop funding you completely. And let me tell you, this particular thing has brought a controversial tension online, whereby most of the people are literally saying that Dumaboko, the president of Botswana, should just go ahead, nationalize their resources, and cut ties completely with the IMF, while others are saying that IMF is literally acting like the Bahrain conference of modern day, the crumble of Africa, while others are saying that these are institutions that were brought in Africa to suppress Africans, while others are saying that most of the Africans should just wake up like the Sahel nations who went ahead and nationalized their everything. Burkina Faso.
Ditaemane tse di sa rekweng ga di rekwe ka gore tsamaiso e ntseng di dirwa ga se yone, re tshwanetse ra e hetola. Ke sone se re reileng ba ntseng re dira le bone re ditaemane tse kana ke tsa rona, jaanong re batla gore re di tseye rona, re di taolele. Ke tsa rona akere bangwe ba re nya o ka ke wa reka DBS o e tseelang ditaemane tsa rona. 70% ya DBS, 70% ke ditaemane tsa Botswana. Botswana e tshwere 15%. Jaanong ra re batla go tsa selo se se go godimo e nna rona beng ba tsone tota. Re bo re bitsa ba re ba rata re ta le re joine re bereke mmogo. Ditaemane tsa rona di re boele. Re bo re emisa go ikaega thata ka tsone. Mme ditaemane di na le dipoelo. Ditaemane ha di tshwerwe sentle di na le dipoelo. Taemane ha e polishitswe e khathilwe madi a ya bona a heta a ya bona ke sa polishiwa ka about 85%. Value ya taemane e mo go polishiweng le go khathiwa e bo e dirwa jewelry. Ha ke ntse ke tsamaya mo mahatseng ke go beya mo go one, ke tsena mo madirelong a di watch a di necklace ya manyena ba itumela ba re ga tu tswa go Botswana ke re ba bona go ha re dirisa taemane ya Botswana hela rona ka o bona re riana re bile ga re tsikinyere ke bo ke utlwa botlhoko gore mme kana dipoelo tse ba di bona mbone le tse rona re di bona ga go lekane go tele. Jaanong ke ba ra ke re mme le ka dipoletša sente ha le ka ta gone ko di tswang tela ta go dipoletša tsa ha la hira bone ba rona ba dipoletša le lona la ba ruta go dipoletša sente ka botswerere jo ka gore ke tsa bone go ngwe re bo re ka le ra re nya mme bye le ka tsamaya nong re siame. Skills development, empowerment, proper empowerment, citizen economic empowerment go tawa mo go ntseng jalo. Ka jalo re tlo go tsa DBS ra go etsa re bo re tsamaisa mahatsa a mangwe ba ta gompieno tabelo utwa ba bangwe ba bua go tenya ba IMF ba re le ska la reka DBS. IMF ke Botswana ke bone ba ba thopileng ke bone ba lwang ke manokonoko a itsholelo e leng gore ditamelo tsa yone di kontle kwa mpolela ka bo IMF mpolela ka Botswana ba ba sotlega nka go reetsa go te tsa ditaelo ko IMF tsa ditaelo ko World Bank nyabetso a go busi IMF a go busa lona puso ya lona ke ra bua re bata DBS ra etsa DBS ha re sena go etsa re busa ditsamaiso tsa yone ko di leng teng go agiwa madirelo a yone headquarters ya di-diamond e tabe e le mono gore e re ha go twe Botswana ke lehatshe la di-diamond e re ha o tsena le wena o leba batho ba teng o bone fela gore nyaha sengwe se teng ke eng go twe ke diamond le temothuo le sele ha ke ka re ke a go hetsa thumo e le mphileng ke bo ke sa kgona tsone dilo tse le nna ke ta ithoba ga ke re ke paletswe mme ga ke motho le go palelwa ga ke a tlwaela go ha ke se ke palelwe ha ka ke a re le santse le sotega ke bo ke nna ke re nya ga gona se nka se dira ke ka lala ke sa robala ke akanya gore batho ba gore ke ba ntshe mo seemong se ke gore ke reng ke bo ke ta go lona ke le ya ka ke le bolelela gore temo ra go e dira ka tsela e harologaneng.
I am a doer. I am a doer unapologetically. And I must be honest, sometimes you people frustrate me. I must tell you the truth. Sometimes I get frustrated by you, public officers, with your rigidities, your routinized sluggishness, your reticence, your inability to respond instantly, decisively, boldly, objectively to pressing and trenchant problems. Because you recoil and you fall back on what has happened before, regardless of the fact that it has not worked. So sometimes I get frustrated by yourselves. You are too formal. That's why you refer to yourselves as excellencies and all these other titles. I'm just a boy. And I'm a boy to everybody. No formalities, because I want us to focus on the real issues. Appreciating that we are all subject to human frailties, foibles, and fallibilities. We know that. We're human. We're not deities. And so when we engage, we must engage alive to all these.
If there is one thing the West do not want, is to see a leader who controls his minerals, a leader who controls his country, a leader who stands and does things the way he wants to do them by himself and on himself. That is one thing that the West doesn't want to see. And if the West comes across a leader like that, they start thinking on how they can be able to take him out. I've told you, IMF is controlled by the West. A lot of organizations here in these organizations are controlled by the West, and that is why you find out that even the bodies that we are expecting them to be independent, they are not independent. Why? Because they are being controlled by the West. Many leaders in Africa who have tried to take matters on their hands, or who have tried to govern their countries the way they think better, they are taken out, or they are forced, to do things that they're not supposed to be doing at the end of the day. Either they won't come back to power, or they will die. And we have many leaders with which we have seen them going through these kind of things. A president like John Magufuli did not die because he was sick. He died because there are forces that were behind him that couldn't allow him to be good to the people. Because Africa has been fashioned to be poor. And so the reasons at which these people do not want to see leaders who are developing Africa, it's because they know once Africa gets rich, or once Africa stands on its feet, it's going to be very difficult for them to be able to manipulate Africa. And the only way they can be able to manipulate Africa is when Africa is poor. But when Africa can do things by its own, when Africa can stand by its own, it means manipulation will no longer be there. It means oppression will no longer be there. It means, the so-called, you see, this treatment where you're told or decisions being made on your behalf will no longer be there. And that is one thing the West is really afraid of. The West fears an independent country in Africa. That is why Burkina Faso threatens them. That is why Mali and Niger threatens them. That is why recently Benin almost started threatening them, because that is one thing they don't want it to come across them at all, at all. They do not care much about us, but they care much about what we have. Right now, as we are talking, IMF is threatening the president of Botswana, Burkina Faso, because he just said he wants to take over everything by himself and starts working things out by himself. This means the man is going to make decisions by himself. He's going to decide what's best for his country and what he wants for his country. But because the West feels like the moment this person takes over, the moment this person starts doing things by himself, it's going to be a problem to him. It's going to be a trouble to him. And he will become strong. Because we know very well that Africa is rich. Me and you know that. That Africa is a place, is a rich place. Africa has everything. Everything we need, everything we want to get from Africa can be able to get it. It's a land of life. It's a land where, there is honey and milk. It's a land of the fertile soil where every kind of food is coming from. And that is why their association with Africa will never come to an end. Many great people, they've talked about this. Many great people, they've tried to discuss this and crack it down. Ministers, professors, and these people say the same thing. Africa is powerful. But the power that Africa should have or needs to have, it has been limited by a white man. And so whenever you want to do a thing or anything by your own, it becomes difficult. Do you know why IMF lends a lot of money to the African countries? It's not because they care about African countries. It's not because they care for the African countries. IMF lends a lot of money to African countries so that manipulation can be easy. They give you the money they know you cannot be able to pay. It doesn't matter how long you take. It's going to be very difficult for you to be able to pay. And if at all you have to pay, you have then to do a lot of things for you to be able to pay back that money. And so what they do, they give you the money, but the resources they know you're supposed to use to pay them the money, they take it again. So when they're taking all these resources, you can't pay their money anyhow. So you become a slave in their country. You become a slave of this country. You become a slave of the United States, a slave of Europe countries, almost all of them. Because IMF is being also controlled by them. And so by so doing, they know you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything. You have now to respect them, you have to listen to them, you have to adhere to their rules and regulations if you want to survive. So that is like manipulation. And so, African countries have been manipulated in this way. Okay? You can't do anything. You can't stand by yourself. You can't feed yourself. You can't protect yourself. Anything you want, you must look up to them. And that is what they want. It gets to a point when they know we have to bow down before them if we need their help. Because they've made us to think they are the one helping us, not we helping them. They've made us to think they are better than us. They've made us to think that every help we're having, it is coming from them. Yet that's not what it is. And many people even today still think that way. I mean, there should be a difference, right? There should be at least something that we need to look at and say, this is who we are, or this is who we are supposed to be. We can't take over We can't take full control of our own resources. We can't take full control of what belongs to us. We must listen to them. We must follow their advice. We must do what they say. We must do what they want us to do. Otherwise, we are not going to really have a very good, relationship with them. And they're going to make life difficult for us in Africa. But I believe these, as much as it's what they do, I don't think they can really make life difficult for us for a very long time. Just like what happened in Burkina Faso. They made things difficult. They're still making things difficult. But regardless, the man's still moving. The man is still going forward. He's not coming back. He's not moving backwards. He keeps on moving forward every single day, regardless of what they say, regardless of what they do. And that is what we're supposed to be doing as Africans. That is what good leaders should be doing in Africa. To stand still regardless. It doesn't matter you're being treated well. It doesn't matter you're being treated bad. But remember your people first. Take control of everything. The moment you take control of everything, you have power to guide your country. You have power to lead your country. You have power to protect your country. You have power to protect yourself. You see, right now Traoré is protecting himself through the power that he has. Where is that power coming from? The power is coming from the natural resources. The power is coming from the inheritance. Whatever belongs to Burkina Faso, that is what gives him power. When they take out that inheritance, they have taken away the only single and remaining power that our ancestors left us with. And so the president, Dumaboko, is really trying to do all the things is possible to make sure he's going to make the country of Botswana stand. But now threats comes left, right, and center. The reason for threats is because they fear. They fear when you take control. They fear when you become, when you become the leader of your own self. They fear when you start calling for the shots and start making the decision by yourself. They really fear. It really hits them hard. It becomes a problem, and they feel like we can no longer let this person keep on doing what he's doing, because if they do that, we can no longer manipulate them. What is our aim? What is our intention? To keep on manipulating them left, right, center every day. And so Africa, many countries in Africa, they're not really free, because this is what is happening in these countries. I'm telling you the truth. In many countries in Africa, that's the same thing that is happening. People are still under attack. People are still under manipulation. People can't still do anything by themselves. They have to depend on the white supremacists. They have to think about, they have to adhere to their rules and listen to them. If they don't listen to them, they can't do anything. Many countries in Africa, it's only a few countries that are beginning to take decisions by themselves, and they're beginning to work things out by themselves. But many countries in Africa, they are not doing that. What's the reason? The reason is because they have not been given a room for them to be able to do that. And that is how things have been happening. That's how things are happening even today. That is why Botswana president is being threatened and pushed to the wall, because he just said, I want to take control of my minerals. And they know, because they know this is where we get everything that we have. We can't let him do that. We can't let them do that. We have to make sure he doesn't do anything like that. But he becomes a problem day in, day out. He becomes a threat day in, day out. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I will do my best to make sure I read all the comments and give a response where possible. This is African Streamlines Roundtable. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe. Until next episode, peace be with you.